The Puck Portfolio with Andy MacNeil.
Hey, welcome to the Puck Portfolio. My name is Andy MacNeil. I'm your host here on weekdays, usually at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, but we pushed the show back a little bit today just to find a few more talking points because the market is looking pretty tough today. But this show is sponsored by NorthStar Bets. You can check them out via the link in the description below. Good old Canadian sportsbook. They offer some great odds on the next day's NHL games. We've been doing good on this show. Another profitable night on Tuesday. 1.27 units of profit. The Vegas Golden Knights, they came through. They got the job done. The Islanders actually played pretty well. That was the best game that I've seen the Islanders play personally in a long time. But Aiden Hill was better in his return to action. The Golden Knights, they cashed the biggest bet of the day, plus 140. That was the only 1 unit bet of the day, so that was nice to win. Lost a couple of half unit bets on the Habs. Thanks, Jake. I said, I noticed you were a little bit more confident in the Habs yesterday. I wonder if that had anything to do with them not performing up to where I thought
that should have been the warning sign right there.
Yeah, that was the tell. I'll have to look out for that in the future. Got to gauge Jake's opinion on the Habs before placing a bet each time. But the Flyers, they didn't get the job done either. Made it close though, and man, Travis Konechny, I thought had the game, the tying goal on his stick. Received a perfect pass all alone in close. And didn't get a handle on it. Slipped right by him. So that was pretty much it for the Flyers. The Lightning poured a few more goals on and ended up winning that one a little bit more easily than the earlier score suggested they would. A small bet, quarter unit play on the Ducks, plus 148. They beat the Sabres, so that helped out as well. But yeah, 1.27 units of profit on Tuesday. Very happy with that. Andrei Svechnikov, he's out for the Hurricanes. We were wondering about that on Tuesday's show. He's not traveling to Boston for the Hurricanes game against the Bruins. The Canes, they've owned 59% of the expected goals in all situations since the holiday break. And while Boston does have the second best goal share at 64% during that stretch, Carolina is not far behind at 61%. That said, Andrei Svechnikov out of the lineup, that definitely hurts the Hurricanes. He has been on fire recently. And Spencer Martin could make his debut for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight in goal. Carolina is on the first half of a back-to-back. So, yeah, trying to account for that a little bit in my projection. Otherwise, maybe would have bet the Hurricanes here. But based on the way things are looking right now, just going to pull up the odds. Based on the way things are looking right now, I don't think I will be back in the Carolina Hurricanes. As you can see, I've got my lunch pail AC hat on. Very happy to get this in the mail yesterday. Easily my favorite Bruins team, even though, before my time. But I think they had the best vibes. Stan Jonathan, Terry O'Reilly, etc. John Winzik. Those guys were tough. Tough as nails. Anyway, Carolina at Boston. NorthStar Bets currently has this one at minus 141 in favor of the Boston Bruins, plus 116 coming back on the other side for the Carolina Hurricanes. I've got this one at around minus 125. Could shift a little bit depending on who starts in goal for the Hurricanes. The Bruins are on the first half of a back-to-back as well. Of course, they've got two great goaltenders in Jeremy Swayman and Linus Ullmark. They will be taking on the Ottawa Senators on Thursday. But yeah, not a lot of interest in this one as things currently stand. Boston, should get the win tonight. I don't think Carolina is big enough of an underdog to consider backing on them. Consider backing them based on the uncertainty here with who's going to start in goal and the fact that they don't have Svechnikov in the lineup. The Boston Bruins, I don't think they should be as big of a favorite as some books have them here. Obviously, minus 141 at NorthStar Bets. I think that's a bit too big of a price. But you won't find me betting on the Hurricanes based on the odds right now. The Winnipeg Jets and the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is one I do want to talk about here because Laurent Brossoit will start for the Winnipeg Jets. Ilya Samsonov, he's going to start for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Brossoit has been very good this season, so the Jets do have an edge in goal, in my opinion. Even though Connor Hellebuck, the current odds-on favorite to win the Vezina Trophy, will not be in the crease for the Jets. Mark Scheifele, he was supposed to skate today, and possibly be a game time decision, but it does not look like he's going to play. Did not take part in line rushes. Gabriel Velarde not at practice either. So two players that I was hoping might be game time decisions for the Winnipeg Jets, and maybe would have created a situation where I could back the Jets here, even with Laurent Brossoit in goal. Not going to happen, right? So yeah, the Jets, they're going to ice the same lineup that they played against the Boston Bruins on Monday, and that is not ideal for the Winnipeg Jets. But I wanted to look at the total here because I think I'm going to put a half unit on the over here. I mean, Ilya Samsonov's goaltending has not been good. Of course, he's one of the worst goaltenders in the NHL this season. Laurent Brossoit is good, but there's going to be a lot of firepower going to work in this game. Obviously, Scheifele and Velarde are a big part of that for the Jets team, but they do have Connor back in the lineup, Perfetti still there, and some depth players that are scoring more goals than you would maybe expect from based on the names on that roster. But I think the Jets have got more offensive firepower than maybe the line here is giving them credit for. So just shopping around here, over 6 minus 120 looks to be what is a widely available price. But it looks like some books have moved to over 6.5. And I'm just curious as to how many have actually moved in that direction. So most still at over 6 minus 120. So I'm gonna back this one over 6 minus 120 to win a half unit. Um, prior to Connor's injury, the Jets, they were as good as the Maple Leafs on offense. You'd think their defense will suffer a little bit without Hellebuck in the crease tonight. And yeah, there's just so much firepower in these games. And if you look before, at the Maple Leafs recent stretch here, they've been in some high scoring games over the last few weeks. So this one feels right to me for sure. I've got a projection of 6.6 goals. Sorry, so I can justify making a small bet at over 6 minus 120 here on the total in Tirana. So, what did you think of the Habs' performance? Basically, a repeat of the last game for more or less, Jake.
Yeah, it was. I mean, right from the get go, it seemed like it was a repeat of last Thursday's thing. Um, Nick Suzuki, after the Boston game, said that that the Habs do defensive zone coverage a bit different than the rest of the league, and when it works really well, and when it doesn't work, it's a total mess. And right now, they're a total mess. I don't really know what the ins and outs of their system is, but their defensive zone coverage is atrocious right now, and it's hard to see them getting back to playing sound hockey anytime soon, especially especially not this week with Patrick Roy coming to the Bell Center this soon after being hired. The media is going to be insane around the players. They're probably going to get fed up about all the questions, and I don't know. And to say that, I don't have a ton of faith in them on Thursday, so maybe it's a good bet.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Yeah, Patrick Waugh making his return to Montreal. And that'll, like I said, like you said, Jake, it'll be a media circus for sure. I mean, that's probably all they're talking about today. Uh, after not having much to talk about after last night's game for sure. But that'll be interesting. I think I think we will save most of. I know we usually look ahead to Thursday's NHL odds on this show. The next day's NHL odds on whatever day it is. Today, obviously, would be Thursday. But yeah, so I think we're gonna save Thursday's NHL games to look ahead at those with Nick Martin from the Action Network's Line Change podcast. Jake and I are going to be recording a segment with him in about an hour and a half's time. And I think, Jake, if it's okay with you, we'll just throw that up on YouTube as soon as it's ready. We'll look ahead to Thursday's NHL games, but we'll just focus on Wednesday here today, because really looking ahead, unless more sports books open up. I mean, I did provide Jake with the projections for Thursday, but I guess I'm sort of calling an audible here. Um, we'll see what the market looks like. Really, I mean, I think it's pretty tight. I want to talk about the Philadelphia Flyers a little bit because that was the bet that I was considering until, and this has nothing to do with the Carter Hart news, although I'm gonna talk about that a little bit here. But the Flyers, they're in action against the Detroit Red Wings on Thursday, and Patrick Kane was a full participant in Red Wings practice this morning. He did not play against Dallas. The Stars got the win in a sweaty game last night. So Patrick Kane back in the Red Wings lineup, it looks like, for Thursday. So that nullifies whatever edge I thought I might have here on the Flyers. And speaking of the Flyers, somebody asked me this morning, should I bet the Flyers to miss the playoffs? And I've seen that listed at even money up to minus 115. I checked a few sports books. I don't know why you'd tie up money for 3+ months on a minus 115 bet on a team that right now is in a good position to make the playoffs. Now, of course, they just lost their starting goaltender, presumably for the entire season. We don't know what's going to happen here. Hart taking a leave of absence, and now reports coming out that the London, Ontario police have requested, or I guess demanded, that the five players who were involved in the 2018 World Junior Championship sexual assault scandal to I guess surrender themselves to London police in a certain amount of time here. So not a coincidence that several players here have requested leaves from their NHL clubs. One player from Switzerland, or no, was it Switzerland? I don't know, somewhere over there. Yeah, Alex Formenton playing in Switzerland, requested to leave. He's returning to Canada, like I said, presumably to turn himself in and face whatever consequences or charges are coming his way. Uh, don't know the details. Look, this is not my game. I look at things from a betting perspective. I don't really pay attention to a lot of things out of that space, right? I just like hockey because I like to bet on it. I don't know that I really pay attention to too much outside of things from a betting perspective. But this kind of does affect things from a betting perspective because McLeod, he was good for the Devils this year, so that's a subtraction, I guess, from a negative subtraction from their lineup. But Carter Hart, he's the Flyers starting goaltender. The Philadelphia Flyers right now in a playoff spot, and I just don't know. I think I'd probably end up. I've got to look at some things here this morning before I update the projected standings over at CanadaSportsBetting.ca. But I was in the 60% range, upwards of 60% prior to last night's game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. They lost, obviously, so a little bit down on the Flyers now. But I would still assume that my model is going to suggest Philly will make the playoffs more than 50% of the time, even with Samuel Urson now listed as the starting goaltender, I guess, for the foreseeable future. He's been good this season, so we'll see how that goes. But I don't know. I really think if you think losing Hurt is going to make such a huge impact on this Flyers team, you could probably just fade them down the stretch. I mean, you could probably fade them tomorrow, maybe if you really felt like it. But I don't think it's necessarily a good bet. I guess by the looks of things, I'll be continuing to bet on this Flyers team if there is a big shift in the market due to this Carter Hart situation. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting few days. I guess we will learn some more as things come out. But um, you know, makes a little bit more sense now why the Flyers drafted drafted some goaltenders in last year's draft. I think in the second and third round, if I'm not mistaken, which is like probably going to like raise alarm bells to anybody that has been following this situation. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I have an opinion on the whole thing. I haven't been following it. I guess glad that if there has been any wrongdoing done to anybody that the people responsible will have to face some consequences here. Uh, and it looks like it's been a, I mean, I guess if anything, my only thought is that these players are facing charges after a pretty lengthy investigation. So I'd say the odds are not in their favor. Um, but what do I know? Anyway, let's move on to back to hockey betting talk. Charlie Lindgren going to start for the Washington Capitals. Of course, the Capitals lost to the Minnesota Wild on Tuesday. Pretty wild game. They are in action against the Colorado Avalanche. The Avalanche getting some depth pieces back in the lineup. Turi Lehkonen, he hasn't played since early November. He's going to play in his first game. I wonder if him and Mikko Rantanen have hashed things out after Lehkonen's dad was trashing Rantanen's conditioning, off-season conditioning in the Finnish newspaper. But um, Bowen Byram is also going to return. He hasn't played since earlier in January, so did not mistakenly did not update the model to reflect that. So the Colorado Avalanche a little bit bigger of a favorite than the model is showing on the screen now. Um, but yeah, this is a tough one. It looks like potentially if things move in the other in the direction that they have moved here, you might see some value on the Arizona Coyotes. But the reason you would be maybe seeing some value on the Arizona Coyotes, who the model thinks should be a plus 210 favorite, um, will be if Alexander Barkov ends up being being in the lineup after being a game time decision. He will be a game time decision tonight. Gustav Forsling is going to return to the Florida Panthers lineup. Sergei Bobrovsky will start in goal. Not sure who's going to start for the Coyotes at this time, but like I said, if things continue to move, if the odds continue to move towards the Florida Panthers and create longer odds on the Arizona Coyotes, that's something I might consider a small bet there. But like I said, the reason that I would be getting that number on the Coyotes is that the Panthers are getting arguably their best player back in the lineup. So not ideal, right? I mean, it's a tough slate. The Vancouver Canucks, they're a big favorite. The Calgary Flames, they put on a masterclass in how to squander a 3-goal lead on Tuesday. How they coughed things up to the Blues. Not only allowing them to tie the game, but scoring the winning goal in the final minute. Pretty ugly scenes in Calgary. They got the Boo Birds from their home crowd. The last time the St. Louis Blues were in Calgary, they dominated the Flames pretty much from start to finish. It was one of the best road games I had watched up to that point early in the season. The Blues won 3-0 in that game. They went into Vancouver the next night and played horrible. So, I mean, maybe they're looking looking back at that and trying to correct that. But this Canucks team is a tough team to play against, especially on the second half of a back-to-back. You've got to pay a premium price here if you want to bet Vancouver, who is minus 244 at NorthStar Bets, and the St. Louis Blues coming back on the other side at plus 195. I don't think there's a bet there to be made on either side. Same goes for the Colorado Avalanche and the Seattle Kraken. Another lopsided game that is really, really difficult to handicap. The LA Kings, I mean, if this was a couple of months ago, they'd be a bigger favorite versus the Buffalo Sabres, but the Kings have been a huge disappointment over, throughout the month of January, really kind of coming out of December, and things have not been going good for the LA Kings. I would not be laying a big price on that team. Had an opportunity to buy low on the Kings at minus 110, and did that against the Rangers I guess on the weekend on Saturday, and they got the win, so I was happy about that. But look, I'm a patient man, right? So I can wait for another opportunity to bet the LA Kings. Did not find anything I liked yesterday when I looked ahead to Wednesday's NHL games, and I think really I was kind of right in feeling that way because things are either the same as they were yesterday in terms of the odds, or they've moved just a little bit. The only thing that I'm starting to possibly consider outside of maybe Arizona later in the day, which damn, I really don't want to. We're seeing the Winnipeg Jets get up to plus 130 at Pinnacle Sports, which is the lowest price, the longest odds in market. So if that is any indication on where things are going, One exchange has the Jets at plus 134 right now. So if that's any indication, maybe I take a flyer on the Winnipeg Jets, who, like I said, will be without Mark Scheifele and Gabriel Velarde tonight, but they do have Kyle Connor back. So I guess maybe that'll balance things out. But I'm on the over 6 to win a half unit in Winnipeg and Toronto tonight. I guess we will look ahead to Thursday a little bit here, but it actually does. It looks like some things are opening up here um, in the market, and we're gonna see what we've got here. Wow, huge discrepancy. Yeah. So I'm gonna pull up my projections for Thursday here before we'll save most of it. We'll talk to Nick, get his thoughts. Be nice to get a different perspective on things. Not that I think it's a hard site to handicap, but maybe there's something that I'm not seeing, or and Nick can shed some light on something else, a different angle, a different way to approach things that'll maybe help you guys out. But yeah, I am going to be betting on the Montreal Canadiens probably tomorrow because you know my price is in line with NorthStar Bets price, which is minus 122. So if you agree with what the Bet Chris is opening at, far away sports book that takes some big bets, well, they are listing the no, sorry, not Bet Chris. Oh yeah, it is minus 170. That's a faraway sports book bookmaker minus 170. Yeah, so these are some faraway sports books that are kind of recognized as market makers. They're opening the Montreal Canadiens at plus 148. So god damn. Yeah, I'm gonna be fading Patrick Waugh. I'm not gonna be listening to the model when it says, probably tell me to risk what 2 units or something on the Canadians at around plus 150. I don't know, but I won't be doing that. But yeah, so we'll see about that a little bit later when some more sports books open because um, yeah, I mean, really, I shouldn't even be talking about those sports books. They're bad, right? But yeah, I will probably revisit betting on the Montreal Canadiens later with Nick, but yeah, so let's just take a quick scan here. Um Ottawa plus 150, that is the lowest price in market, plus 143 at North Star Bets. That lines up with what I've got for them versus the Boston Bruins on Thursday. I've got Boston as a minus 142 favorite. That's what the model says. The Arizona Coyotes, they should be a plus 187 underdog versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's pretty much bang on with what I'm seeing at sportsbooks right now. Philly plus 114, assuming Patrick Kane is back in the lineup with the Red Wings. I'm seeing plus 114 at North Star Bets, plus 115 elsewhere. So really, really close to that. Just right around the Devils' price here at plus 130, plus 123 at North Star Bets. So, I mean, like, it's tough, right? I handicap these games, I make my own prices. I wait for the sports books to open up their odds, and I hope that I can beat some openers, get some good line value, and all of the games that open up pretty much line up with my odds, and it happens sometimes. And it's kind of a disappointing thing for me. I'm sure it's a little bit disappointing for you guys if you're hoping for some action on Wednesday. But yeah, like I said, I'm a patient man. I look for the best opportunities to get an advantage over the sports book. I guess realistically, even though I don't agree with it, we'll be on opposite sides. If you want an advantage over the sports book, go ahead and take that minus 122 that's available on the New York Islanders against the Montreal Canadiens, because that's available at North Star Bets. It's the best price in the market by an absolute mile. They will probably not like you for betting that game at that price. So, I mean, you'll have an advantage over the sports book if you get that number. I mean, and this is, I guess, a little bit of ignorance on my part because I'm getting some information here from a big market maker that says, hey, this price on the Isles that is being offered by some Canadian sports books is way off. And I'm still going to say, you know what? I'm going to wait and I'm going to bet Montreal later and curse at Jake when it doesn't go my way. So yeah, that pretty much does it for today's episode of the Puck Portfolio. Sorry, I don't have more bets. Like I said, I'm an advantage player. I do not I don't just gamble for the sake of it. And I think that anybody that watches the show should be happy about that, because I'm not going to lead you down a path that I wouldn't go down myself. And right now, there aren't a lot of paths here to take that I think will be profitable in the long term. So, Nick, I'm sure we'll see something that he likes on Thursday. So check back on the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel in about, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'll let you know on Twitter. We'll tweet it out and let you know when that goes live. And you can check out our conversation with Nick Martin. He will surely have some bets that he likes for Thursday. Until then, drop a like on the video. If you don't mind, helps out a ton. Please subscribe to the Canada Sports Betting YouTube channel if you have not already. And yeah, we'll talk to you a little bit later.